We're back.
All right. Welcome back. So we were about to continue on. Pamela was going to lead the group over to the wreckage site of her old traveling show troupe. The remains of their caravan, for lack of a better word. So let's just be clear on what vehicles we're taking. Pamela, you have your hover chair, so that's fine.
Ye-
It can keep up with things. What are the other vehicles that are being taken?
I think
Definitely the whatever I can't even remember. How
An
could I not even remember
ATV?
HEV?
your
Thank you.
big boss.
It's like Land Rover.
Not quite.
I'll be taking my hover cycle with all my new stuff.
I'll
cool
drive
demo.
with Patrick.
Okay. And Burn?
I will ride with Patrick.
Okay. All right. So now on foot, it was about half a day's travel. This is along a road towards the east, so you almost go straight east. It's slightly northeast from where you are. There's no chance of getting lost because Pamel made this journey before, and because you're in vehicles, it only takes about 2 hours to get there. Now, what used to be three ATVs, two trucks, and one RV are just shades of their former selves, smashed, blown apart. It looks like high explosives were were involved. In fact, for those of you who have the demolition skill, give me a demolition skill check, please.
That makes it.
That makes it?
Mhm.
Okay. You can tell that a few of the vehicles look like they were struck by explosives from the exterior, but the way that most of the tangled wreckage is that it looks like they've been blown from the inside out. So you're thinking that high explosives were actually laid inside the vehicles to make things unrecognizable. 15 corpses lay around. Amongst the twisted metal and the husks and the embers of fires that have now finally faded. Now, all of these corpses, as you check them out and take a look at them, for those of you who are bold enough to do so, you notice that they seem to all of them have been stripped of. There's absolutely no armor on any of them. There's no weapons, even though you see evidence of weapons fire, and a few of them have their fingers cut off, typically on the ring finger. So it's fair enough to infer that jewelry was taken as well. Now, the scene isn't a complete disaster, however. The RV still has some semblance of structure. Pamel, you can correctly identify the RV as Coleman's personal vehicle that I always used to travel in. Now, the front of it is blasted almost in half. The wrecked engine is spilling onto the dirty road, twisted and broken. But the rear half of the vehicle is intact. Any questions? Any investigations? Any actions you guys might want to do?
I don't know if it's even possible, but I would like to try and determine if this looks like a coordinated, organized attack or a random, chaotic kind of, like the difference between bandits with too many explosives or a group that's trained to do this and do it methodically.
It's hard to tell. In fact, Pamel, there's a little bit of additional knowledge that you might have, if you don't mind just imparting it to you right now, if that's cool.
Go for it.
Okay. So, because what you remember of the actual attack itself was that the caravan stopped abruptly because a few logs were, like from trees nearby, were felled in front. And before anyone could get out and investigate, the caravan, the front of it and the rear of it, was hit by some sort of rockets there were great explosions, and then all hell broke loose. And that's when you kind of were able to protect yourself and to get into cover and survive the assault. Now, it's up to you whether you want to tell that to the group or not. I will leave that up to your discretion.
I think she would.
Okay.
Kind of offhanded. Do you want me to repeat it or?
No.
just that she did?
No. Yeah, there's no point in redundancy in this.
Okay,
A lot of times,
sounds
what I like to do is give you guys knowledge without me speaking to you directly, so you can say stuff like this in character. But this was kind of spur of the moment, so we have to just do stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's cool. Of course, you can always change, the tone or anything like that of how you say it. But anyway, so along with Pamel's knowledge, plus what you can see here, it seems like it was a blitzkrieg strike. It was at least, if not organized, sudden and brutal. And you don't know a lot of groups that can organize something like that and act that quickly who aren't organized. So it's likely, yes.
Patrick, can you help me? I was going to
Yes.
try and... Pamel said the front and rear vehicles were hit by rockets. I want to try and take a look at those vehicles, see if I can determine what side the rocket they were hit by, and then try and backtrack perhaps the trajectory of the rocket to see if perhaps we can search that area for any evidence that whoever fired the rocket may have left behind.
That
Well,
should
Pavel,
be doable.
she could actually.
Go ahead.
She's gonna flag you down. She's like, she has object read, if that would help you out. She could do-
Maybe. Can you be more specific as to what that is?
Object read is you. Hold on. You can get impressions and images from objects.
Al just kind of
So
opens
if we
his
could
mouth
use it
and
on
goes,
Cromwell's trailer.
"Cool."
I know, right?
I know, right? Could you
But-
please, if you would be so kind? What I would
Alright,
need to know
sounds
most
great.
is where the rocket came from, what angle, if you can tell me exactly where it hit, anything you can tell me that would be helpful.
Okay, I could just do it on all of Cromwell's trailer, or could I? Are there rocket fragments that I could even use?
You can definitely use the rocket fragments, because if you do your object read on the actual vehicles, you'll get impressions from the vehicles, not of the actual rockets themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So here, I just have to bring up the description of that, because there is particular information that it does tell you and what it doesn't tell you. And I want to get that right, of course. So give me just 2 seconds as I get the main book up here. I had it open on a PDF and then I closed it like a noob. Like a noob.
No, you want to know a noob mistake? I just realized the whole rockets that I bought for my motorcycle. Remember
Yeah.
that session where I didn't save my character sheet?
Oh my god.
I don't have those rockets anywhere because apparently that was all in one session.
We'll suss that out later.
Yes,
We'll
yes, we
suss
will.
it out later.
I'm such a
Okay,
noob.
so you can get impressions and images, of course. So first, let's do your percentage rolls to see if you get any sort of impressions from the rocket. Okay. So
Okay.
what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll a 1d100, and if you get 56 or lower, then you succeed on the check. So
All
you have
right,
slightly
I'm
better
doing
than a half and half chance. 55. There we go. Just
I'm
perfect.
kidding.
That's nice and dramatic. Good job, Rachel. All right. So your impressions. It will let you know the general, I guess you could say, morality of the last owner. And the owner of the rocket, the last person who owned this rocket, which you're assuming is the person who also fired it, you can tell their aura is pretty scuzzy. This is not a upright individual. Probably very exploitive and very cruel. Okay? The general emotional state of mind of that owner was excitement and greed. The object's general purpose, what it's used for, is quite obvious: to explode and destroy things. You do know that the last owner is still living, and it has not been used with or by magic or supernatural forces.
Okay.
It's also clearly not enchanted or possessed or anything like that. Now let's do a roll for images. This is going to be interesting. So you have to roll a D100 and get underneath 48.
Okay. D100?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, it's
Whoa!
nice. Excellent.
Hello.
I might throw in some bonuses here. So now you get a flash of images now. All right. So this is almost like it's like a piece of movie film edited by a crazy man. So give me a moment while I do this, okay? So snippets of events that occurred. All right. You see now. Unfortunately, you're not able to see any particular faces in general, right? But you get the image of. It's very, very strange, but it's of a logo of a screaming white-haired woman, and that logo is attached to the fatigues of the owner. All right, that's the first image. The second image is. Just think here. The second image is the rocket itself being loaded out into the actual rocket launcher. You can tell that it's being fired from a hidden spot within the woods, and you can tell that it's done by a coordinated strike. Like you can hear in the image a radio counting down to 5, and when it gets to 0, everything fires at once. All right?
Okay.
The other image is there's a few irrelevant images of the owners. Like there's an image of him getting laid for some whatever reason. So that's very short.
Oh, good.
Because I know it's stuff. It's stuff. Unfortunately, Object Read is linked to high emotional moments. So there's moments like that aren't really relevant. Okay, but there's one more image that you think might pertain, where it's everyone gathering around an area with a silver-haired gentleman meeting them. You can't see the face, but you can tell that the hair is very silver, very gray. And you get the impression of desperation and betrayal from this individual, and an agreement by the owner of the rocket to assist that person in that. But that's all. That's the only flash that you get.
Okay.
Did I make myself clear? Is it good? Because I'm doing
Yes.
all this shit off the top of my head. So
Sorry.
I just want to make sure I'm being clear enough.
That's perfect.
Okay.
All right. And then she's going to regale everybody, because I can't read that as well.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But regale them with the stories, and is now super mad because she knows that he's there now, or just is presuming that he is, or Cromwell.
Okay.
And is pissed about it.
Okay.
Patrick's just going to clap at the end of it, just like it was a theater.
Mila will do the same, like, wow, that was really neat.
Pamela fake bows.
Al's
The
just
flourish.
thinking about what she said. He would say, "It sounds to me, from what the images you got, like if it is Cromwell,
It's Coleman, by the way.
Coleman, sorry. If it is Coleman, he hired them to hit the caravan because he needed to cover up something." Interesting.
You sure it's a cover-up?
No,
Won't be
not at
surprised.
all. But the idea that she got that what we might think is Coleman talking to them, and that he had an air of desperation and betrayal, that might mean that something happened, Coleman felt betrayed, and hired them to hit the caravan. The desperation suggests that he's covering something up, or that he lost something, or is trying to gain something back.
Sure, it couldn't be just for money. Like he's desperate
Yeah,
to.
he is a jerk.
It could be a lot of things. That is absolutely possible. I'm just kind of listing off what it may be.
Mhm.
In any case,
I'm going to assume the worst.
Fair enough.
in any case, perhaps we take a look at the wreckage that's still standing.
Oh, you mean the RV, correct?
Oh yes. Oh, by the way, Inferno. Would my
Yeah.
intelligence background? Would I have any idea whatsoever what that logo might be?
Uh, Interestingly enough, standard government militaries don't really use logos. They typically use insignias.
Mm-hmm.
Either really well organized bandits or a merc group, for sure.
Okay.
The white-haired ones, actually, you know what? I don't know what kind of check we can do. Oh, you know what? We're gonna just make one up. Roll me a d20. If you get under 5,
I have
You're gonna know
intelligence has a percentage.
intelligence has a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, okay. Do that.
54%.
Do the check.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're not 100% sure, but it sounds like a group, from her description, it sounds like a group called the Silver Banshees, which have operated in this area before. You don't know a whole lot about them other than their insignia. But
Right, and obviously
Yeah.
that matches the idea of a silver banshee.
yeah.
All right. If it is a merc group, if it is the Silver Banshees, and it's a merc group, it means they're for hire. And from what the images, from what you showed us, it sounds much more like Coleman is an instigator, as opposed to simply a collaborator. And that's not good. Any objections to checking the trailer,
No.
None at all.
if you want to call it that?
Mila's gonna go find something to climb on.
Okay, lots of trees.
Woohoo!
Patrick is going to actually try to find the trajectory of the rocket because that was the last thing that was mentioned, and he's still curious about it.
Okay.
He's going
So-
to use his superpower.
We'll separate the investigation to a little bit. Actually, we're going to say Jackie has been programmed with a racing matrix. So you can play with Jackie and see who can climb the tree the fastest if you want, Mila.
Sounds great.
Okay. Mila isn't much of a detective.
Can you tell? She's more about,
Yeah. But if you
Sport.
think of anything else, please let me know. Because I don't want you to be, anything else. All
I'm
right, so
enjoying
yeah,
just
fine.
listening to this.
Actually, I was going to say, Al could say, Mila, can you see if you can get to the highest tree, if you're going to be climbing trees, and just look around and see if you notice anything other than a forest? Something
Oh,
man-made.
you betcha I can.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Cool. As for the trajectory, you walk kind of into the woods past the tree line that separates the dirt road and the side of it. And Patrick, you kind of look around. All that you can really notice that seems out of place are a few scorch marks on the grass and a few pieces of bark, which might be from high weapons fire. And a few trees that have been felled. Maybe they were hit by some sort of high energy weapon. And a few cigarette butts. But that's about it that you can see.
All right then.
Okay. As for inside the trailer, so now the trailer, now Coleman did travel in style, and so it is reasonable to assume that it can fit, really, since Mila's up a tree, all 4 of you relatively comfortably. So if you're all interested in investigating, you most certainly may.
Okay.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
just gonna knock his stuff over.
Okay.
Just casually go in. What's this? Knock
It's a
over.
little bitter.
Okay. Definitely. So, inside the RV, it is simply. You have to enter through some of the blown out holes. The actual door that used to enter the vehicle, that's blown off its hinge. But you're able to get inside the wreckage relatively easily. It is simply decorated with a small bed, a desk, and a mini fridge. Those are the items inside there that still lay intact. Now, the thing that draws your immediate attention, upon the bed is a small black square lying face down that Al, and for those of you who've been traveling, maybe not Pavel might not know this, but everyone else recognizes it as a fusion block. And the shiny black explosive has a small light on its side flashing red. You cannot see the display screen. It is upside down.
I'm gonna run.
Okay.
I am
Yep,
going
I'm gonna
to
get out of there.
very quickly but calmly try and tell everyone to back away as far as possible, and I'm going to try to disarm it.
Can I just say Mila made the right choice in this case?
Yeah.
Retreat might
Patrick
have saved her.
is going around picking up cigarette butts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Camel is bailing.
Okay. Pamela bails, Tom bails, Piff's being a hobo. I mean, Patrick being a hobo and picking up cigarette butts. Al, give me a demolitions check.
Demolitions or demolition dismantle? Oh, I guess. It's
Oh,
not
I
really-
guess demolitions disposal is the most relevant.
All right. Oh.
All right. You calmly and collectively go over to the bed. You slowly and carefully reach over to the fusion block, and you know if you need to do anything, you have to first see what the display screen reads. You flip it over carefully, make sure not to jostle anything, and much to your relief, you see an error screen. You know, especially when it comes to fusions blocks of this type, it requires a timer. If there's any sort of malfunction, the timer is not set correctly, or it's the interior workings are jostled or incorrectly or just frankly defective, it does not detonate. Its countdown switches to an error screen that flashes and it becomes inert.
Al would kind of like look a little annoyed as he kind of disconnects it and just be like, amateurs.
Fair enough.
And then he would put it in his pack with the other ones. What kind of fusion block?
A heavy one.
That's
Don't
going
say
in
I am
my
not
pack.
benevolent.
Ooh.
By this time, Tom will be reaching the forest edge, and he will leap a grand leap and land on his face.
Okay.
Tom, what are you doing down there?
Yeah, Chuck. What's going on? We're playing a game of hide and go seek. I already found you, man. Can't even hide well.
He can't hear you. He's covering his ears.
You await the explosion that does not come.
All right, he's gonna uncover his ears and look up.
Al will come out and say, "It's okay. It's safe. It's been disarmed. There's no exploding."
Okay, I'll get up and brush myself off.
It would be a sweet, awesome dive if there was an explosion. But
I even did a backflip. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, you need to roll for
roll
that shit.
percentage. All right. Okay. We're good. Is it fair enough to assume that those interested reconvene inside the trailer to keep looking around?
Yes.
Yes, I think I'd be more interested in the situation after I hear it got defused. I'm like, what?
Mila's still looking for the tallest tree, so
Okay.
she's...
Yeah, you're surveying each tree very carefully, Mila.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what you might have to do? You know that shiny leather, that laser direction pointer that Patrick has? I bet you that'd be a really good way to figure out what the tallest tree is.
Thanks for getting that in my head, God.
You're welcome.
Mila will run
Thank
up
you,
to Patrick.
crazy voice in my head.
I just had this image of Mila like coolly and almost like professionally looking from tree to tree. No, this one's not good. So go on to the next one.
Thanks for
As
the idea.
diligently as Patrick goes about his artifacts.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So back inside the actual room, now that the immediate threat has been disarmed, I can continue on with the description of everything. So next to the bed lies Coleman's show jacket, which is easily identified by Pamel. It is a dazzling red and white colored garment he used before he did his sales pitches and his, for lack of a better word, performances to the crowd. The small refrigerator is wide open and looks like it's been rummaged through, and only a few bottles of water are still available. The desk, however, holds two areas of interest. The first is a personal computer that lies on the top of the desk, Of course, it's slightly slanted, and it looks like it's been bashed at with a blunt object, either a hammer, a butt of a rifle, a very strong fist, something. Okay? The screen itself is smashed, as is the keyboard and a few other components, but you're not too sure, what the rest of the internal workings look like just yet. And also on the floor under the desk is a safe that looks like it was blasted open by some sort of high energy device. It looks like it was rummaged through, but there are still some contents within the safe. Small bits of cheap jewelry that look like some sort of ancient runes or some old languages etched onto the sides of the jewels themselves. And that is what you can first see when you enter. What would you guys like to do?
It would make me
Take
want
the
to ask
jewelry.
Pamel real quick. Pamel, do you remember how did it all end? Did you leave and whoever attacked you were still here? Did they hit it and run away? Basically, did they hit you and run away really quickly so that you were left in all this devastation alive, or did you run while they were still here?
A little bit of both, actually. Oop.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're good.
What?
We hid and ran, but they were pretty fast either way.
My question, let me ask it more this way. Do you think that there would have been people left here to set up explosionary devices inside the trailers after the attack? Or do you think it would be something that might have had to be done before?
Wait, like before we left? Or like before we came back?
No. Basically, here's my concern. Many of the vehicles and the fusion block we found in here show that the vehicles were blown up from the inside, which either means one of two things: sabotage, which means it was done before the attack, or after the attack, whoever did this wanted to leave absolutely no evidence, so they planted all the fusion blocks inside the trailers after the attack and then left. My question is more, did they hit the caravan and then all leave, or did they stick around long enough to do such a thing?
I mean, I can't be completely sure, but I'm pretty certain the bombs were planted afterwards. But it's not 1,000%. There's a lot going on.
Fair enough.
So I think that they weren't planted to blow up when the attack started. They were planted afterwards.
Okay.
There you go.
Patrick looks lost and just like looking back and forth between like the jewels and the broken computer.
Okay.
He looks like he needs guidance.
Patrick, if you want to take a look at the jewels, I can try and take a look at the computer.
Yes, and he will bend over and scoop them up.
Okay. Give me a lore magic check, please. 4. Excellent. You can tell it only takes a little while, but those runes, completely nonsense. There's no such runes as what they're doing. It looks like someone's just doing some etching, some strange thing. The language, these ancient languages, is nothing that you recognize, and it doesn't make any sense. You're pretty sure that these are fakes.
Okay. And they were found in the safe location?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Can I do try and figure out what's going on with the computer? Do a computer operation check? I think?
Well, computer operation is really handy when the machine itself is in use.
Patrick's got this.
Okay. I'll step aside and let the master go to work.
All right. He's going to He's going to snap a few of his bones in preparation. Lean down to the chassis and see what he cannot see what can be salvaged or repaired at all. And I'm going to use my computer repair skill.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.